So we're here now with Liam Patrick Schubel, the Schubelmeister. Okay, we're at Mile High here, and Liam just gave outrageous presentation.
Thank you, Donny.
And one of the things that I really enjoy, a couple of things about you. One, you always know where you're going. Okay, you know where you're taking people. Mm-hmm. You know how you're getting there.
Right.
Okay. Your ability to take the message of chiropractic beyond the form.
Right.
To the masses, and to support chiropractors who come out with a dream and have no way of fulfilling it.
Right.
And helping them develop practice in different countries. Mm-hmm. Supporting Sherman College. It's just extraordinary. Now, you know, we've been together. You've been to Formica with us together there. We've been in the gig. We have some extraordinary conversations. Mm-hmm. When you interview me, which usually is the first time I interview you, right? I have a conversation.
Yes.
I'm putting you on hot seat, but it's a discussion here.
Yeah.
You tap into the leading edge questions, knowing how I think and what I'm trying to produce in the world. I'd like to turn the shoe here.
Okay.
And I like, you know, what is it that makes you keep going on?
Well, the vision, really, and that is, you know, I often say I'm the official director of CWD, right, Chiropractic World Dominance, and the idea is, right, is now the allopathic model is the dominant model worldwide right now. I'd like to see that shift, and my vision is someday, I often say, every man, woman, and child on the planet check for vertebral subluxation and adjusted when necessary from birth, so that every human, you know, I really feel chiropractors are tuned in, and of course there's other professions as well, but are tuned into bringing about the optimal expression of the human existence or the human experience. And I think chiropractic has one of the tools that can bring that about, and certainly your technologies and strategies that you're developing as well. And so I love to hang out with people that are interested in human potential.
So let's talk about more about the optimum human capacities, human experience. Okay. How do you see it showing up nowadays in the chiropractic profession?
Well, I think and this may be a consciousness, but I think it is. But I think a lot of this consciousness was brought about by an economic shift as well. As you know, in the chiropractic profession, the idea was allopathic is paid for by insurance companies, right? And we changed our lexicon, and some people would like to remove our lexicon in order to be accepted by that mindset, right? But what's happened now is that those strategies are no longer paying. You can see in the chiropractic profession, people are suffering because they learned in school how to adapt to an allopathic model, right. And now that model is unsustainable. And so what's happening is chiropractors don't know how to communicate the value of what it is they do. Many don't even know really what it is that they do, right?
That's the challenge.
And so that's the challenge. And as we've had the discussion as well, chiropractors have been known to be weak in technique, right? So they can't deliver the goods or the promises of chiropractic. They're weak at communication, so they can't express the value of what it is that they do for their communities. And so,
no clue about business.
No clue about business. No clue about marketing, right? So they're going into that world completely unprepared, and it's almost like a fraudulent situation. I mean, if you went to mechanic school, right, you would learn how to be a mechanic, and hopefully a successful mechanic, right? We're signing up for chiropractic school. We're going to learn mostly medicine, right? And then they're throwing us out into the world to try to be a successful chiropractor.
Well, we're talking about human experience ultimately there. And I think that's one of the more important things as a profession has to happen. They have to focus on the human experience.
Right.
for the chiropractors, teaching students from a human experience perspective, respecting that.
Yeah.
I know Sherman now has made that commitment. Want to share something about that?
Well, Sherman College is, and we heard it today, the president, Dr. Ed Cordero, of course, the board of trustees are committed to, we're obsessed really with student excellence. And the reason why is because traditionally, again, chiropractic students are not learning chiropractic, they're not learning the successful application of it, and the implications of that are that students are graduating and they're not having impacts on their community, right? So if we're going to change the world, right, if we're going to bring about this transformation and evolution of the planet by optimizing the human experience, well then we have to be experts at what it is that we do. And that's what Sherman College has, we've just brought Christopher Ken in there, Dr. Christopher Ken, who's a genius, right?
That is, he's one of my resources.
Of course.
And he's one of the people that we have these 2-3 hour phone calls, both of us keeping our sanity.
Yeah.
Or whatever sanity's left.
And he's one of those people like you that I pray every day continues to be in the game because we continue to move the puck forward. And he has the intelligence to make that happen and the understanding. And so Sherman College is committed to making sure that our graduates are prepared to be successful and make an impact in the community and understand their role in health.
Now here technologically they're appealing to the millennials. When students come in, they get the iPad, the presentations are integrated, they get all the books and literature on there.
That's right.
They're in a supportive community now.
Yes, and that was the point I was making earlier, is it's a collaborative effort, right? There's an idea, it used to be you'd go to chiropractic college and the professors and the doctors who were visiting were up here and the students were just these lowly specks of dirt down here.
They bring the money in, but that's it.
That's right. And now what you're finding is, as you know, the chiropractic program is intensive. It's rigorous. It's, many would call it a torture chamber, right? Like, I think one of the best things I did for my health was to get out of chiropractic college, right? But if you're going to choose that rigor and that type of a program, you probably want to go through that program with family, with a supportive structure, and that's what we have at Sherman College, and people that are all committed to a similar vision, to bring about the optimal human experience, in our case, through the delivery of a specific scientific chiropractic adjustment.
You're also having now the real business, by business coaches and professionals, integrating business class in every semester for relative to scope of what their student would know.
That's very true. So, things like what do you look for in a lease? What types of marketing strategies should you use? What's been effective now in today's world, not marketing strategies that worked 20 or 30 years ago.
And that's a key thing. Even the lay lectures to talk, all the type of things, the way you want to communicate to people. People don't care to have the bandwidth for it now.
That's right.
They just want to know, how's it going to impact my life?
Bottom line. That's the whole millennial thing. What's in it for me, right?
Yeah, and the key thing about the millennials is they have a hunger to work collaboratively.
That's right.
It hasn't manifested because they're usually seeing people as virtual people, and they don't have enough of the individual human experiences.
Yes.
So in this way, an educational program and a chiropractic program that helps people have a greater human experience, as is a reality, it's a virtual reality, really can help the strongest, I think, needs of the community, and that's to work collaboratively.
Yeah.
And to have a vision for how to change the world. And I think they need heroes.
Yes, I think they do. They need heroes for sure.
Congruent
heroes.
These bullshit detectives are great.
Absolutely, and that's what Dr. Cordero, the president of Sherman College, has been very good about, bringing in some, on a weekly basis. He brought back something that Sid Williams used to do at Life University. They'd have a weekly assembly, right. and that disappeared a long time at Sherman College, and that was a huge weakness, because
I remember years ago, speaking regularly, I would go to school, I would speak at the assembly, and they would set up classes. I would go into whatever class they have, they take me into different classes, and I would talk to classes all the time. And that was one of the beauty at those early days of Sherman.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing that again. And that's when I was at Life. We had Fred Barge would come in. So you're sitting, listening, just bathing in the genius of that, right?
I remember when I went to Columbia as a chiropractic,
Yeah.
came to New York Chiropractic College on graduation. I remember Jim Parker coming.
Wow.
And he came to the class, we had assembly there. And he took $1,000 and he gave $100 to 10 different students, put it in his pocket. Now you're talking now 1970s.
That was a lot of money.
That's right.
That's a lot of money.
So At that time, chiropractic college was $800 a semester.
Wow.
Give
Yeah.
an example.
Yeah.
A chiropractic fee, office fee, would be $8.
Wow.
Okay, $10 in New York. And he put it in people's pockets. And he had everybody watch the people. They stood differently. They walked differently. He held self-confidence. In essence, FCB, faith, confident belief.
Yes.
And he said, act as if. So when my last semester in chiropractic college, I had an instructor. This instructor, some people serve as an example of what to be.
Right.
Some serve as an example of what not to be.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes people serve not to be, serve a bigger purpose. So like, you can have a parent, a really abusive parent, or alcoholic parent, something like that, if a parent doesn't show up. And that has, for someone who's utilizing that energy effectively, has a greater effect on them not to be that way.
Yes.
When somebody who's in the gray all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty interesting that this instructor believed the chiropractic adjustment was manipulation, was a placebo effect.
Oh, wow.
It was just about loving people up and giving them nutrition. That was it. But I bless him because the last day of school, we all sat around in a field. It was in the woods in Long Island. And we're holding hands. Now you remember, we were talking, this is 1970s, so we're still hippie days.
Right.
You know? I was the only one in school I figured didn't have other than some of the women. I didn't have a mustache. Yeah, and you know, most of I saw one of my classmates here at Mile High.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him for 40 years. And that time he had the afro we called the Jufro.
Yeah.
So he looked at me.
Right.
Anyway, we held hands and he said, for all during school you've been saying to us, why don't those covers do that? Why don't they do that? Why don't do that?
Mm-hmm.
Next week, you're one of them.
Yeah.
This is 1977. 39 years later, I'm remembering that.
Wow.
Because if it's going to be, it's up to we.
For sure.
That is what you create with people.
Yeah.
Just talk about where the opportunity is now in South America or in other countries right now.
So in Latin America, which is where I have a lot of my offices, I have offices in Peru, in Colombia, and the Dominican Republic. We found that the only limiting factor to growth is doctors of chiropractic, really. If you give me a doctor of chiropractic who knows who they are, what they do, and why, I could set them up in a successful practice in anywhere in Latin America. I mean, there are literally towns, Donnie, with over 1 million people with no chiropractor at all, like zero.
Now, I had a story.
Yeah.
Tell me if it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, sometimes the urban legend is quite different. That there's a chiropractor, I think went to Colombia, I think Italy, Colombia, and she didn't speak the language. She had a translator.
Okay.
And she gave a talk, and 5,000 people showed up at the talk. They set up a tent, and a couple of thousand people were adjusted.
Yeah.
Is that like?
That is not uncommon. I have to tell you, we do a chiropractic mission trip. It's called thebestmissiontripever.com, right? And one of the things I love to watch is the students, the light bulb go on. I used to love that with my patients too, right? Explaining the chiropractic and watch the light bulb of possibility go on. And to watch the kids who've been taught in this allopathic mode in chiropractic college and fear, like you're going to hurt somebody, there's a lot of litigiousness going on. They're just scared out of their minds, right? And they don't even have any idea of the periphery of what can happen with a chiropractic adjustment. To watch them go on the first day, their hands are shaking, and there's a line of 1,000 people, right? Because we show up, we do a little marketing beforehand, and there's 1,000 people on the line. They're shaking.
Listen to this, everyone. Pause. You're concerned about getting how many people in your office? There's 1,000 people waiting to get care. Okay. 1,000 people waiting to get care. You got to think fast, speak fast. You got to be inspired. You got to know what you're doing, what you want to have your outcome for. At the very beginning, imagine the energy of 1,000 people coming. And why these people come? With the minimal education you give, why are they coming?
Foreign doctors giving care in the spine and to optimize their life force. That's to optimize their life force.
I've heard that people have said that. I think in Mexico was that they said we're going to come because when your spine's in line, your connection with the divine is in line.
Right.
And people show up in their Sunday clothes.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Exactly. We don't put a religious construct on it. You could. I mean,
But
it's
I've
a
heard
very
people have
religious.
done that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's well. I mean, it's almost all Catholic community.
Right.
You know. So, there's an innate understanding that the spine in Latin America, and I don't know why this is, but in Latin America, there's an innate understanding that obviously there has to be some kind of professional to take care of the spine. It's just like any other part of the body. It needs service. So we don't have that preconceived notion down there that, it's only for back pain or they come because if you have a spine, you need some kind of a care for that spine.
So you have the students hanging out.
Right.
There's 1,000 people waiting for care.
Right. So the experience kind of looks like this. Dr. Schubel, what do I do now? Deer in the headlights. And we're going to check these people's spines and we're going to adjust them with the subluxations when we find them. That's it? Well, what else is there? I mean, we can't plug in any machines here. There's no electrical capability. All we have is our two hands. And so you watch them and they go and they nervously do their first adjustment and the patient doesn't die, right? And they're, wow, this is But what's really exciting is the next day when the people come back.
And they see what happened.
You got it.
Regardless of the technique.
You got it.
That-
And that's the thing. We've had people doing network down there, network contacts, and they're not experts. They're in chiropractic school, right? Which again speaks to the glory of innate, right? Is that even with a minimum level of skills, you can get some incredible results in that practice.
Now, do you have experienced field practitioners working with them?
Absolutely. Yes, we do. Yep.
So it's really a sponsorship or mentorship.
For sure. And really what makes our mission trip different, Donny, than other ones, it's not a free-for-all. We only allow 10 students to go, and each one is paired up with a doctor. So
that's the reason why I've been concerned before, and I've heard that about you.
Yeah.
And I want to get that across. So there's a learning process, and yet that mentorship continues as you work with students along the line.
For sure. But what the neat thing to watch in this whole process is the second day, the students are like, wow, what I did had that effect. And I don't know anything. Like, that idea, that low self-esteem. And then that's the second day. And then the third day, you watch their adjusting skills and they're more and more confident. By the fourth or fifth day, they're saying, hey, let's get on, Dr. Schubel, let's go over to the hospitals and get all those people out of there. Let's start getting them adjusted. So they come with all limitations and they leave with all potentialities, what's possible.
That's the same type of construct that you're looking for in Sherman, where people get excited along the way.
Yeah.
And they're participating in the community.
Again, for me personally, there's nothing that juices me more than watching the light bulb go on. That used to be my favorite part. And that's why you see I just got off the stage speaking. When I look out in the audience and I watch all those light bulbs go on, and then imagine the effect that's going to have in the communities that those people are serving, that just juices me.
Well, tell me a little bit more, if we would, about your authoritative and irreverent at times approach.
Yeah.
I mean, you take people to the edge. I know that well.
Yeah.
Okay. You take people to the edge, and you're not sure, is he serious, is he teasing?
Mm-hmm.
So while you're at the edge, they're going to uncertainty. They look for a new way of interpreting it.
You got it, and that's why I do it.
That's it.
That's exactly
it.
it.
I notice it.
Yep.
I know you wait. I see a smile on your face, like, okay, I got it. Their mind is totally trash to what they know. Now they're ready for something new.
By the way, I see that on your face when you're working with people as well, just so you know.
It takes what to know.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I can be irreverent, and I do a lot of pattern interrupt, a little bit of a shock value sometimes, and I try to move people on a roller coaster ride, providing content in the meantime. It's not just a show and an entertainment thing, but I try to keep people engaged the whole time.
And you do.
Thank you. And keep pushing their boundaries so that they grow. I want them to leave better off from the experience of having been with me.
When I was as a child, I was challenged. I had some neurological challenges. My normal experiencing was seeing the energy not really form of people. I was really challenged. I was in very high levels of barbiturates during growing up. And my parents didn't know what to do with me. Okay. Sometimes I would just sit and go like this, go, ooh, and they didn't know what to do with me.
Okay.
So then they said, well, we don't know if he'll make it through school. My father wanted me to go into maybe this lunch in a candy store in New York.
All right.
My uncle taught me was one of the king of the greeting card industry, taught me how to write verse and whatever it is. My mother taught me something. My father, the last weeks of his life, he told me that. He said, Donny, we don't know what to do with you. You really were strange then. We didn't realize that everything was preparing you for what you have, but your mother, she just knew. Do you remember what she used to say to you when you used to go to a party as a little kid? I said, yeah. The only reason why you're going to the party is to make the space better when you left.
Wow. That's awesome.
So I would go to a party, have fun, yes. Who was better, and how was the space you left better?
I love it.
You left.
I love it.
So, because they didn't know what to do with me, I said, why'd you do that? They said, well, Mom figured if you, number one value is helping people, then no matter what happens in life, you'll always be taken care of.
I love that. I love that.
So I got my love and attention as a kid for actually looking, how could I help? What could I do? How can I make things better for people?
Yeah.
I got that. And that's the key thing. When you add value to other people, that's the ultimate in life.
Agreed. And I remember talking with you on the island of Formica.
Yeah, that's a
Formica?
small island
Yeah.
where I do some retreats. I have network. I have several different disciplines. One of them is an energetic application, where I work with the field of the body, which influences the body. And then we have network, which influences the field. Okay? And on the island of Formica, we talk, it's lots of times for Italian in between these wonderful meals and wonderful times
Delicious.
to talk.
Yeah. The food is great. The environment is fantastic. The energy is wonderful. And the people that you meet there are fantastic as well, that attend that program. And my whole family, of course, from the baby to my wife, we enjoyed the heck out of it. And so in one of our conversations, we were talking about, I guess it's the Padre that works
Right,
there,
Padre
right?
Legio.
And he works with folks that have problems with dependency on drugs and
People
alcohol.
who have lost the way in life, and most of them are drug and alcohol.
Right, and so I think one of the things that impressed me most is when we were having a conversation was that he has very good results, like superior results over anybody else.
Yes.
Of recidivism is always the challenge that people have, right?
Yes.
He doesn't have the levels of recidivism that most other programs have. And the key, according to what he believes, I think is what you told me, was because he allows people to find a purpose greater than themselves and living in service to other people. And
That's
I mean,
it.
the people that were working on that island serving us were
And
just
some who
top
were off
notch.
drugs just a short time. Yeah.
Yeah,
And what happens? He says those who have the biggest gifts to give.
yeah,
God, like hammering steel, time tempers a temperament. God has hammered them in a way that makes them feel so small
yeah,
because they have such big gifts to give. And when they believe life is about themselves, God hammers them. And that drug addiction is the ultimate of self-absorption.
yeah,
And they want the high that they would get from serving people. They want to get the high they would only get from loving.
yeah.
Only the guy they only get for seeing something higher, but they're getting the reward without putting it in, which makes their life collapse.
Mhm.
So he has them live a Franciscan way and way of service. He says it goes about 2 years to go through the program. It's a very bright 4 years because the
Okay.
intellect fights all progress.
Interesting, yeah.
He said, and they don't want us to surrender. And the idea then is that to help people realize the pain is when you serve yourself, you're meant to serve others. On the island, there was a man. He was head Mario. He's with Project for 40 years, and Project for 50 communities now in Italy, Israel, other places, and he's in his 80s now. And I see Mario. I saw him a couple of months before on the island. Is back, and he's chipping rocks away to plant a plant on this island. Used to be barren, just rock.
Yeah.
It was beautiful gardens there. I said, Mario, you look so good. Why do you look so well now? Since I saw you last, he said, I look so well because I'm working so hard.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. Mm-hmm.
And he laughed and he said, this is the problem in the world. People don't want to work for a good purpose. The
Yeah.
only thing that ever makes your life meaningful is going to sleep exhausted at the end of the day for a good purpose. Look yourself in the mirror and know you've created something through your work.
Absolutely. And don't we see when we look at studies, longitudinal studies of the human population, so many people live today for a future date of retirement when they can finally, do something that they want to do, right? And what happens? As soon as they stop working, they die very shortly after because they don't have a purpose to replace that.
I think we're pretty sure both you and I are not going to retire. We're going to retire.
I don't have time to retire, and I don't know what I'd do if I did. We're blessed in the fact that our passion is our purpose, and again, with a vision of every man, woman, and child on the planet checked for vertebral subluxation adjusted when necessary from birth. That's 7 billion people on the planet. We've got tons of work to do. I can't do it myself. You can't do it yourself.
And
we need
I'm
more.
expanding that. In my perspective,
Yeah.
is my idea is to have every person on the planet be able to optimize the use of information and energy consciously to have an extraordinary experience exploring the world. And that is where we take the message to the chiropractic office and bring it to everyone. We bring it to people in corporations, even without getting adjusted.
Right.
If they just realize everything is a train of life, everything is energy and information.
Yeah.
It's just the best energy and best information, and realizing that when the system binds too much energy, which a subluxation does, binds energy, then indeed universal forces are going to have to rip it apart.
Right.
But when you're spreading the energy, you're adding to the value.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we see. That's what we see when we're on the island there. I mean, with the Epstein energetics that you're working on, and now you were just telling me this past weekend about the epigenetics, right? I mean,
Epigenetics,
yeah,
around all energy is a field of consciousness.
and that's huge, and that's huge, and the way that you talk today about mental impulse, that the chiropractors have, and how the intelligence and the force and the matter and all that, how it all coincides, and then you were talking about the fifth house and the fourth house. I mean, just
different dimensions.
Yeah.
And the thing is this: once you've realized the principles are about liberation of humanity, period, then you bring your skills to it. When you think it's about your profession, you've lost it.
Very good. And that's something, by the way, that's something that I have to work on myself. And I know Dr. Jacob Merrick was here this weekend, and we were listening, and we're trying to change our lexicon to meet that understanding.
What human need do we meet for humanity now? And then do we have a strategy towards that? So we're not marketing and selling chiropractic.
Right.
We're not doing that. We're helping sell a future of humanity, which we have a tool for.
That's a different game. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.